You know, we say all the time that when you watch 3+U, it's not just that hopefully you stay entertained, but you learn a lot of things in the course of the hour. We certainly do, and bringing the show to you each and every day. So we've been so blessed the last several years to have Dr. Tiffany Ahlberg from Ahlberg Audiology be a regular guest on the show. And look at our luck this morning. She's actually back in the studio, so good to see you.
It's good to be here.
So I am not yet at a point really in my life where the idea, I think, of being concerned about my hearing is a daily need. But you have taught us recently that everybody, at least I think you said by about 50, which is me, needs to have a baseline hearing test. Is that right?
Baseline hearing tests are so important. And just in the last couple of months, I have seen several people who've had hearing changes. And when they call me and they say, hey, my hearing has really changed, we have a baseline to go off of. And that is so important. And every single person I've said, thank goodness we have that baseline for you, because otherwise we don't know for sure that they've, or how much of a hearing change that they've had.
I don't know why part of our human nature seems to be that most of us are not very good at the preventive measures. It's just not something that I think we excel in generally. So you don't know until you're needing that comparison, the importance of having had that understanding.
So true, yes.
So when you do a baseline hearing test, what's actually involved?
So we do, it's a diagnostic hearing test. So we put someone in the booth and we do air conduction, which is either headphones or inserts, and where you press the traditional button for the beep when you hear the beeping sound to measure their thresholds of hearing between 500 to 8,000 hertz, which are our speech frequencies that are necessary for us to be able to understand certain pieces of speech information. And then we actually test word recognition. So we give people words and see if they're able to give us the correct word back at a level that they should be able to hear at.
So that's a good way to kind of segue us into some topics going on. And if you perhaps are somebody who right now struggles with your hearing, you might be familiar with this, that there's some talk about federal regulations coming up the month of October beginning over how you purchase over-the-counter devices. If you're kind of doing it on your own like that, though, you're not getting the benefit of your expertise.
There may be some people who do just fine with that. There are so many people in my office that I see that have issues, and I don't know where these people will go when they have an issue and they bought it out of a magazine, or they are having trouble with it. And if they bring it to us, if it's something that we have provided, a lot of times most of the time we're able to fix it in the office. But when people purchase these things in a big box store or they purchase it out of a magazine, a lot of times they just don't know what to do with it. First of all, it's not fit for their hearing loss. If they don't do well with it, they just get aggravated and frustrated. And then if something happens to it, what do they do?
Talk about the aggravating and frustrating nature of this whole thing, because that's as much of a component of the conversation you have as the actual physical hearing loss, isn't it? The psychological part of not being able to hear.
Yeah, it is. And you don't want extra frustration. You don't want, and people have different levels of commitment when it comes to that. But I feel like if people are committed to hearing better, they really need to see a hearing professional. They need to go to someone, an audiologist, to help them with that, to make sure that everything's functioning right, to make sure that everything is fit right for their hearing loss, because it's so individualized. And I just feel like that part of it is left out of the equation a lot of times when we hear about some of these things just being provided to the public out of a magazine.
Well, and you say things every day in your practice, and yet I'm sure you then will have conversations with people who've never heard these kind of preventive measures that you can take. And it's shocking that we don't know things, but even something as basic as cutting your grass, even in the once a week cutting your grass, you ought to wear hearing protection.
Yeah, I know. I will have people say, it's not that loud, or I only shoot a handgun, it's not that loud. I'm like, it is that loud.
And it's worth pointing out, because unlike a lot of things in life, if you lose your hearing, that's not something that can be remedied. It can just be try to stabilize it. Is that right?
Yeah, it doesn't come back. I mean, when you have damaged your inner ear, when you have damaged those hair cells, there is no bringing it back.
So if somebody is doing the over-the-counter thing, and you're not trying to say don't do it, you're just saying if you do it, be cautious, because you could be stuck.
And if you do it, I would say 20% of the people I see have gotten something cheap and gotten frustrated with it, and then made the decision to actually fix it and come to see us. If you do get something and it doesn't work, don't let that be the final straw. You can't, just don't let that frustration prevent you from actually hearing better and going to see somebody.
But also before I let you run, in the conversation of coming to you and having the diagnostic and all of it, they don't just walk away hearing better, they learn and their family learns what parts of sounds they're not hearing to get that overall improvement in their quality of life, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's hearing loss is different. So whenever we fix a hearing loss, everybody's prescription for that is different. So it's not a one size fits all.
Okay. Are the diagnostic tests sometimes covered by insurance?
Almost.
Okay.
I would say almost always.
Okay, so there's no reason not to call. Here's her number. It's Ahlberg Audiology in Cleveland on North Ocoee Street, 641-0956 is her phone number online, ahlbergaudiology.com. And aren't we lucky to have her drive down to see us today? Good to see you.
Thank you, Julie.